Well, good morning again, America, or good afternoon. It's actually like almost 12:30 in the afternoon on Sunday, the 2nd of August, 2015. I've just been kind of taking it easy today. You know, I worked 6 days this week. Had to work yesterday, so today I didn't get in a big hurry to get up and do anything. Sunday after all. However, I got to start shaking the leg here pretty soon. Got some things to do, but I was sitting there, you know, drinking my coffee, my last cup of coffee, and looking at news articles, you know, some of which on, you know, news sites. But this one right here, a friend of mine shared this article with me. He posted it on my timeline on Facebook. And the title of the article, it comes from a alternative news source called PoliceStateUSA.com. It's one that I look at pretty often because if you want to find out about a lot of things that are going seriously wrong with the United States of America, this is one of the many, often pretty reliable sites to look at. This particular article here is titled Naval Officer That Stopped Active Shooter to Face Charges for Discharging a Firearm on Federal Property. Okay? A naval officer. Not just any naval officer, but a field grade naval officer. In the Army, he would be a major, an 05, or no, an 04. In the Navy, he's a lieutenant commander. Okay, you don't attain the rank of lieutenant commander in the Navy unless you definitely have your shit together and are very good at what you do. This man here, he helped to put a complete stop to this fucking raghead that had just left the scene of the Chattanooga location where he killed several service members there that were unarmed in a cowardly attack, and sped away about 7 or 8 minutes down the road to this next facility where he commenced to murdering people, unarmed people. Now, it's true that federal regulations prohibit the carrying of a firearm by anyone on the installation other than military law enforcement. Okay? First and foremost, in this age of war on terror and such, and especially after the Fort Hood massacre, where that asshole, that raghead, went off and started blowing people away, unarmed military folks. That regulation right there needs to be stricken from the regulations. That's utterly ridiculous. Our military, and I know because I was one of them for a very long time, are highly trained and qualified, more so than police officers, I might add, with a lot more practice and a lot more experience in many cases actually using firearms. These people should be able to enjoy their Second Amendment rights, not privileges. Understand this. Right. Whether on a military installation or not. Above and beyond anyone else, these people should be allowed the ability to protect themselves and their co-workers and their families and the DoD civilians that work on these installations. They are more than qualified, and I guarantee you this. If that cowardly ass little jihadi bastard would have whipped his pistol out at that Marine Corps recruiting station, and every one of those Marines would have been armed, I don't believe he ever would have got the first shot off. Somebody would have blown his greasy ass head back to Allah land where it belongs. Somebody would have dealt with his ass quickly and expediently, and there may have been no lives lost. Not one. He might have gotten lucky and been able to hit one, maybe even two, but he would not have done the damage that he did. Now, this is basic common sense here. This is not, anything that should be hard to figure out. It's not anything anybody should argue about. Not in this country. This lieutenant commander in the Navy, he is being brought up on charges, apparently, by the Department of the Navy, which I can't even believe. But the reason they're able to even bring him up on charges is because of all the nutless Americans in this country that haven't already started stomping and standing on politicians' desks about it. These are the kinds of things right here that, in my view, bring enormous shame on us as a people. This is pathetic. Lieutenant Commander Timothy White. Rather than being celebrated as a hero, Lieutenant Commander White may instead be charged for discharging a firearm on federal property. A former U.S. Congressman from Florida, Lieutenant Commander Allen West, he's actually Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. He's Army. We don't have commanders in the Army. We have colonels. He personally confirmed that White will face charges. White, a passionate war veteran, said that he received, West, a passionate war veteran, said that he received word of legal action and became, quote, dog-fighting mad and seriously pissed off, end quote. Here's what he wrote. Ladies and gents, resulting from the text message I received yesterday, I can confirm that the United States Navy is bringing charges against Lieutenant Commander Timothy White for illegally discharging a firearm on federal property. The text message asked if it would be possible for Lieutenant Commander White to reach out to me. This is Colonel West talking. To which I replied, affirmative. What kind of freaking idiots are in charge of our armed forces? Pardon me, our unarmed forces. What would they prefer? That Abdulaziz had been able to kill all the Marines and sailors at the Naval Support Reserve Center? Let me draw an interesting contrast. Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus, is more concerned about lifting the ban on transgendered sailors. Mabus has a problem in that for the first time since 2007, the U.S. Navy will not have a carrier battle group operating in the Persian Gulf. But this knucklehead has no problem with the Navy seeking to destroy the career of a sailor, a commander of an installation, returning fire against an Islamic jihadist attack. I do not care if it was his personal weapon. He deserves a medal for facing the enemy. And I don't care what your belief system is. If you see it any other way, then you're a piss poor example of not only an American, but of a human being. This guy's a hero. He violated regulations. He did. But in this particular case, I don't always say this, the ends justifies the means. I don't give a damn what you believe, what you think, because you know as well as I know, anybody does, that had he not done what he did, We all know how response time can be from the police. I mean, it's not their fault. They just can't magically appear as a crime is being committed. They usually don't appear until it's time to draw a chalk line around dead bodies. The crime's already been committed. They're there to investigate it afterwards, for the most part. But there was a man there, a highly qualified man, who jerked out his privately owned sidearm. And we can go into all kind of reasons as to why he was carrying it, okay? From what I can tell, this guy's got a stellar service record, you know, no kind of problems, no kind of mental defects or anything like that. He was doing what he felt it was actually his right to do and common sense to do. Our military installations and recruiting centers and things of that nature have been under threat for a long time. Never mind the reasons, but the threat is real. And he took it upon himself, knowing that it might get him in trouble, stripped of his rank, stripped of his benefits and everything else. That's a man who basically knew that he could be possibly sacrificing that in today's warped ass, off-kilter Twilight Zone mentality. He knew what the consequences could be for himself. But his concern was not for himself. His concern was for protecting his fellow service members and anybody else affiliated with the organization. Any of you congressmen and senators who aren't already pounding your fist on someone's desk about this and demanding that you lay off this guy, demanding that he get some form of a medal, you make me sick. And you should be ashamed of yourselves. And not only that, you should be impeached and brought upon charges of treason yourselves. But then again, I already have that opinion about most of them anyway. They openly violate our law, passing trade agreements in secret trade agreements that not only can citizens not see because they're classified, but our own congressmen and senators can't see them, except for those select few who are in on it because they're gonna benefit from it somehow monetarily. And even when they get to look at it, it's only certain portions and under heavy guard with an armed guard standing over their shoulder after having already basically searched them and confiscated their cell phone and any other recording devices. See, we're being distracted, folks. We're being distracted by all these little stories about, you know, rainbow-colored White House and transgender restrooms in the airport in San Diego that say that anybody of any sex or any particular bent, you know, can go in there with your children. Perverts, rapists, whatever. It's not like you're going to have somebody screening people at the restroom door and doing an instant biometrics check to make sure they're not a sex offender or something. You send your child into a restroom these days, you better go with them. Especially if it's got that transgender sign on there. You know, picture of a man, picture of a woman, picture of a shim, I guess, a she-him, picture of an animal, a picture of a monkey, a picture of a child. All are welcome in this restroom. Whip it out, take care of your business, because we're open-minded. Oh, boy. What's wrong with you, America? What is wrong with you? Are we really going to allow heroes to be tarred and feathered over doing the right thing, saving lives? We will fry this honorable man, or we will allow him to fry. He'll lose his benefits, his ability to take care of his family. Everything that he's worked so hard for, in the interest of defending us. We will allow this to happen. Mark my words, it'll happen. He will suffer severe penalties for doing the right thing, because we care more about a fucking lion over in Africa that was killed by a hunter. We'll get our asses more butthurt over that than we will over one of our heroes, one of our homegrown heroes, doing something very heroic and saving lives. It's all flipped upside down, turned inside out and sideways, man. Any of you people that can't see this, you're so far gone, you might as well be out of fucking Pluto. Do the right thing, America. Let your so-called representatives hear your voice on this. If ever there was a time for all of us to get behind somebody, if you can't see that this is it, you're as polluted as the Hudson River.